Welcome to Chapter 10, which focuses on asylum, withholding of removal, and protection under the Convention Against Torture, or CAT protection. In this video, we will master protection standards by explaining and distinguishing the legal requirements of asylum, withholding, and CAT protection. We will also focus on persecution and protected grounds, and apply these theoretical standards to real-world scenarios. Here are the key legal terms we will define in this chapter: asylum, persecution, particular social group, clear probability standard, government acquiescence, well-founded fear, protected grounds, withholding of removal, CAT protection, and non-refoulement. The Immigration Court adjudicates three major forms of humanitarian protection: asylum, withholding of removal, and CAT protection. Each offers relief to prevent the U.S. from returning individuals to countries where they face serious harm. Evaluating these claims requires understanding their unique burdens of proof, legal standards, benefits, and limitations. Asylum is discretionary relief with a low burden of proof. Even a 10% chance of persecution may qualify. Eligibility requires a well-founded fear of persecution on account of one of the 5 protected grounds, with no bars to relief applying. Key benefits include a path to permanent residence and work authorization. Withholding of removal offers mandatory protection against a threat to life or freedom. The burden of proof is much higher, a clear probability of persecution, meaning greater than 50%. While it provides protection from removal and work authorization, there is no path to residence or family petitions, and removal to a third country is possible. CAT protection guards against a likelihood of torture by the government or groups it cannot or will not control. Like withholding, the burden of proof is more likely than not, or over 50%. Key differences are that no protected ground is required, and it applies despite serious criminal convictions. However, like withholding, it offers no path to residence or family petitions. Persecution is a core element of asylum and withholding claims. Qualifying harm includes physical harm, death threats, and torture. Harassment and minor threats are generally excluded. Judges analyze the severity, frequency, credibility, and corroboration of the claimed persecution to determine if the legal threshold is met. For asylum and withholding, the harm must occur on account of one of the 5 protected grounds: race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group, or PSG. A PSG must meet 3 legal requirements: immutability, particularity, and social distinction. The respondent must prove a nexus between the persecution and one of these characteristics. To meet the failure of state protection standard, respondents must show the government cannot or will not protect them. Evidence of this failure often includes police refusal, corruption, impunity, or country condition reports. Effective relief requires demonstrating that the state is either an active persecutor or is structurally incapable of providing protection from private actors. To help prepare you for discussion, consider these questions. Why is the asylum burden lower than the withholding burden? How does CAT differ from asylum? Why must persecution be tied to a protected ground? And how do judges evaluate whether a government is unwilling or unable to protect? For your weekly knowledge check, complete these assessments by the end of each session. Be prepared to support your answers with specific legal citations from the course text. The questions cover defining well-founded fear, identifying the 5 protected grounds, explaining the burden for withholding of removal, and defining government acquiescence under CAT. Now let's apply these standards to a practice case, the matter of Omar Hassan. Omar, a 34-year-old former translator from Iraq, is currently targeted by local militia. The core legal issue is whether his persecution is based on imputed political opinion or is merely a result of generalized country violence. Omar is seeking asylum, withholding of removal, and CAT protection. The factual basis for persecution includes 10 years of service for U.S. forces, explicit death threats calling him a traitor, and the murder of a colleague by the same militia. State protection failed due to police refusal, and internal relocation was not an option, proving no safe haven exists. The defense theory rests on, quote, imputed political opinion, arguing the militia targets Omar for his perceived allegiance to the U.S. Defense witnesses include Colonel Sam Walters, who will testify to the risks faced by translators, and Omar's former wife, Lieutenant Colonel Rita Simpson Hassan, who can corroborate the threats and failed internal relocation. The government's opposition argues that the threats are due to generalized violence, not individual persecution. They also contend that safe relocation to other regions of Iraq is possible. A key challenge is timeliness, as Omar waited to file for relief after entering the U.S. We now analyze the 3 tiers of relief. For asylum, Omar must overcome the 1-year filing bar. Withholding of removal has a higher burden but no deadline. For cat protection, the focus is on the police's refusal to protect him, which serves as evidence of government acquiescence to torture.